got some questions for you, Kevin. So first off, I mean, how was your life as a kid? You know, what were the things you kind of got into growing up and all that good stuff?
Earliest, I remember, I was always into sports, but I also was always one of those kids that would somehow find myself getting into trouble, whether it be, throwing snowballs or rocks at cars, or, going in the woods and lighting fires or fireworks, or even, stealing baseball cards from the store. It was always kind of just doing something where, guys in the neighborhood would tell me, yo, let's go do this, let's go do that. But I kind of knew in my heart it was the wrong thing to do. But my head kind of always told me, it's all right, you'll kind of get away with it type of thing.
Right. So what was life like for you, maybe like when you were just graduated high school or?
Well, actually, the summer after ninth grade, so my mom passed away, and that was kind of like the big thing that I would say kind of kick-started a lot of my, behaviors. I had started smoking weed probably before ninth grade, drinking a little bit, but that was kind of when things like really took off for me. When my mom wasn't around anymore, and my dad wasn't really around. So that's kind of when I started hanging with kind of a different crowd, not really the sports friends that I used to have. I started kind of hanging with the kids that didn't really want to go to school anymore, whose parents didn't really make them go to school anymore. And that's kind of when things changed for me.
Yeah. So when would you say you might have hit an emotional rock bottom? Not a physical, but an emotional, where you just were like,
For me, it was kind of, I would have to say that I hit a few of them. The last one being when I got sober in 2008. But along the way, I had hit different bottoms. I can remember the first time ever going to jail. I can remember just, being far away from home, and just feeling like things weren't going to get any better. But, and it was kind of, it was a progression, I got sober in 2008. I went to jail for the first time as a teenager, like in 1994. So, it was a matter of, years before things got bad. And it started off with just drinking and smoking weed,
right.
And obviously things progressed from there.
Yeah. I guess you would say that adversity is a hardship, but it's also, a good thing as well, because when you're going to have to face those throughout your whole life, and the more you go through, I guess, when you're younger, the better you are when you get older, because then you're not, you don't give up as easy. You know how to, punch it right back and get up. So
Right.
when you finally, sobered up in 2008, did you notice a lot of better things were starting to happen for you, or?
Yeah, and I would have to say that, my journey, one of the main reasons why I drank and did drugs was I didn't know how to cope. I had no coping skills. I really didn't know how to cope with life. So when something like my mom passing away happened, I didn't know what to do. So, I did what other kids did, which was, drink and get high, thinking that it would, work. And it was a solution for my problem temporarily, but my solution became my problem. And along the way, especially once I got sober, and then I started learning ways to live my life and deal with life on life's terms, learning some coping mechanisms. 29, I was basically still 15 emotionally.
Right.
I didn't know how to handle situations. I always kind of just threw up my hands and said, F it, basically. And didn't really know how to live. So when I got sober, that's when my life really started to happen. That's when I decided to go back to school, and I only made it to past ninth grade in high school.
Yeah.
I ended up getting my GED. Well, I got my GED in California, but I ended up getting a GED in New York when I was in jail, actually. I went back to school, got my 2-year degree at Finger Lakes, started working in the field of addiction, as a drug and alcohol counselor. Actually went back to school. Now I'm actually graduating from Brockport with my bachelor's in social work, and I'm an intern at the Monroe Correctional Facility, working at the chemical dependency program there. And actually in May I start grad school with the GRC MSW program. So it's kind of like a full 180. As a matter of fact, I went through the program at the Monroe Correctional Facility in 1998 as an inmate. That's actually where I got my GED,
Right.
in New York. So, and now I'm an intern there. So it's kind of come full circle.
Yeah. So I guess wrapping up the interview, would you say that when adversity struck you the most, when adversity struck you the most and hit you, so you were just down and out, that all those times going through it, maybe not coping with it the right way, but going through all of those hardships kind of maybe prepared you to make that big step to sobriety in 2008?
Absolutely. I think it was a culmination of things. That day wasn't any great moment or any particular situation that day, June 14th, 2008, that I got sober. I think it was everything built up to that day. I hit that emotional bottom to where I knew that I didn't want to live my life like that anymore. And I knew there was an option. I knew that I had known guys in my life that had gotten sober and that changed their life. And that day was the day where, I said to myself, that I wasn't going to live like that, like how I had been living. I knew that there was a better way of life.
Yeah.
And if I would have written down that day where I would have liked my life to be now, I would have sold myself so short. I never knew that, life could be enjoyable, and all the things that I used to love to do, I've actually started doing, in sobriety. Not just, the going to school and the work, but playing music. That's something that I always enjoyed doing. Something I actually started doing again when I got sober.
Right.
So it's just been... it's been a pretty awesome journey, and I think, going through those things and losing my mom, and having, people in my life pass away through drugs, and that lifestyle, has definitely, without a doubt, made me the man that I am today. And I wouldn't change any of those things. As tough as some of those were, to get through, I think those are the things that build character in us as people, and make us want to do different things.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you very much, Kevin. I really appreciate it.
No, you're welcome.